Good morning and welcome to your fall semester. For many of you, it's your first semester in college, and what an exciting time this is. And I am thrilled that you guys are going to have me twice this semester for two classes, and so that's pretty exciting as well. I did want to give an introduction to this class, kind of give you what your expectations are and really how this deal works, and to touch on the introduction chapter and the mindset piece, just because I just see there's value in that, and I usually like to spend the first week just kind of getting to know you guys, what your majors, because writing is different depending upon what your major is, and really finding out what your needs are, and really how does this fit into your degree and your future professions. And what I have found typically or historically is that most students come in with a lot of preconceived notions about how they view English class, how they feel about it. A lot of times students are overwhelmed. I hear a lot, I don't get it. And so I really like to take this time just to hopefully calm some of your fears, and just to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with that, and really what this class does. So this class, as you know, you are having to take in conjunction with 101, and you have to pass both sections in order to move to 102. And this class specifically is more of the mechanics, and we're able to go a little bit deeper that will help support what we're doing in 101. And so you will have homework assignments, but this is more of doing some review, changing maybe your perspective on how you've learned some things, to be able to ask questions, to get a little bit deeper, and just have different conversations. So the first half of this class, we're going to be going through the textbook that I've created for this class. And then the remainder of the class will really be where we are piggybacking and going deeper into the assignments that you will be doing in 101 in order to end this semester strong. With that being said, and because they're both in conjunction with one another, I can't remember if I put this in the introduction video for 101 or not, but your writing assignments, all writing assignments that you do in 101, those grades will be pulled over into 100. So basically, one assignment you will be getting grades for in two classes. So just be really mindful of that. So really kind of going into the introduction, and just some of the things that I've seen with our incoming freshmen, and we'll probably will talk about this during class time. So please take the time to read the section that I put into your module, and to really discuss where you guys have come from. Comments that I've heard, English is hard, I don't like it. Typically I hear comprehension is an issue, they don't get it. There's just a myriad of different feelings. It's a stressor. It can be overwhelming. And all of those feelings are totally validated. How we teach English, I had gotten into some habits when I taught middle and high school that we become so skill oriented that we forgot that there's a bigger picture as to why we use the skills. And that really is what has changed my perspective of how I teach English, to give you the value with why we learn English, why we learn these skills, why we do what we do. And that's a part of changing mindset and perspective. And that's why I like to spend some time on that this first week, because if you are coming in already stressed, you've already created these perspectives and feelings of, I just am not good at English, it's just hard. When you come in at the negative, then it really compounds, and then it's really hard to push through those things. And a lot of times the feelings that we have, especially if we don't like something, a lot of that's usually grounded in fear, especially if it's like a subject or something, a task. We're just afraid. Maybe we've had some failure in the past. We did our best and we didn't get the grade that we wanted. We don't understand why we got what we got, or the outcome was the way that it was. And those are, again, like I said, they're valid. But in order for you to get the most out of this class, it's going to be a purposeful choice to see the value of what we're doing. In 101, we're going to be learning a lot of different genres of writing, and they all bring something different to the table. We're writing in general, there's a lot of similarities. There are also a lot of differences. And one writing formula is not the same for every writing assignment. But what it really comes down to is communication and how we are communicating our feelings, what we're thinking. It could be a stance on something. Things that are valuable to us, and we want someone to empathize with us. We like agreement. We want people to agree with whatever research or our point of view on how we see something. And so with that, there is going to be some mindset changes and some purposeful choices that you have to make in order to get the most out of 100 and 101, and in fact all of your college classes. And so part of that is there are some purposeful things and responsibilities on your side that you can do in order to set yourself up for success. So kind of going into the changing your mindset piece of it, the first one I have is student responsibility. What is your responsibility? One is that you've already signed up for this class. You've signed up for college. You see the value in spending your hard-earned money in order to help you move towards the career of your desire and of your choice. And so already in that act alone, you have proven that there is value here. But we need to take it a step farther, because with high school, and especially with this crazy year that we came out of, the horror stories, everything shifted online. I know here in Chesterfield County, I knew students that, they were doing work, but nothing was being graded. So what's the point? They didn't do work, which means they pretty much stopped at a certain place. I'm not sure if that's your story or not. Or it was, I had students with other professors or from high school that, okay, we went onto an online format. Now they're inundated with all this work. There's no instruction. There's no teacher walking them through it. It was basically on them. It was overwhelming, or, they didn't have that much work up until they shifted to online. And now that they're online, everything got dumped on them. And so, like I said, there's just all these horror stories. And so some of you guys, this is kind of getting your feet wet and getting back in the groove of things. It may have been that you really have not been in an organized learning environment since March. And that's a long time. And again, with the stressors of, my heart breaks for you guys with the graduations and the no prom and just all those things that really are exciting about your senior year. Some of you guys didn't have. I did feel like a lot of the high schools, they did step it up. And so there was celebration. It just looked different. But as far as instruction and actual meaningful learning, it really depends upon who your teachers were, the school systems that you were in, and those are stories that we're going to find out through the course, because I'm just curious to really see where you guys are. So some of this is where you were in a groove and all of a sudden it stopped. Now we've had months, more so than a regular summer break, and now you're having to get back in that groove. And so what I want to do is kind of go through some things that are going to be, help you become successful, not just in this class, but also in your other classes. But it is vital that you really are empowered. You have to be a self-advocate for your success, period. And not just in college, but in the professional realm. You've got to take point on what is going to be important to you. And like I said, you've already have proven, or you've already shown me what you deem important, because you're here. You're in this class. You're in this college. And so that's step one. Yay! So congratulations for making a phenomenal choice. And you're just moving one step towards your future dreams and goals, and I want to help make that happen for you guys. Okay, so student responsibility, what is that? First thing, time management. What I can tell you that most of my freshmen that I have had through the years, the biggest hurdle and challenge area that hurt them was time management. So a couple things here. You're busy. You got multiple classes. Some of you guys are working on top of it. You have outside interests. It could be sports or whatever that is. You got a lot of stuff going on. English is not your only class. But this is where it differs from high school. When I was working in a high school situation, sometimes you're having conversations with other teachers in different disciplines. And so, they were like, don't everybody have a big project at the same time. And you kind of coordinated that to make sure that you didn't inundate your students. That is not the case in any college, actually. One, we have a shorter time frame in order to move through certain material. And so we don't have the luxury of a whole year or 10 months to really get through a textbook. You basically have, 3 to 4 months. So with that, it becomes extremely important that you manage your time. And one of the instrumental tools that you can have is a planner. And it can look one of two ways. Now, I'm kind of old school. I like to touch and feel things. And I'm an English teacher, so like books, I like the real thing. I like flipping through pages and whatnot. But I like to look at a month at a time, and I would schedule everything out that I had. I'm also involved in church. I'm just involved. I'm a parent. My kid plays volleyball. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life. And I have to make sure that I plan that out. So one, I don't double book, but also do not overbook myself. So I'm so exhausted that I can't do the things that I have committed to. So you've already made a commitment. You've made a commitment to your education. You've made a commitment to every class that you have signed up for. That's priority one. One, you have money behind it. And so when there's money at stake, that really does need to kind of be a priority, because you're wanting this, you're needing this in order to get to your end game, which is whatever your profession is or whatever your degreed area is. So make sure that you put all those things down. Anything that you're involved in, if you have due dates, practices, if you're a musician and you got band practice or whatever, that needs to go in there. Also, what needs to go in there are all your classes. Now, all of your classes, you have a syllabus, and you should have the pacing plan for the semester. In my 101 class, I have the pacing for 101. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, where's the pacing for this class? This class is a little different because this is a support to 101, and I need to move at your pace. And so the way that I have this is the textbook that I've written. We will probably get through by the half of the semester, and then the second half of the semester, then we're really digging in deep to the assignments that are in 101 in order for you to be successful with those. And so there's a lot of skills that I will be learning, but it'll be piggybacking, so it's not so bad. But all of your classes, psych, science, math, religion, whatever it is, they should have the tests that are out. History, you'll be taking history. And so put those down. Projects, put those down. As soon as you hear of something, put it down in your planner. Homework, put it down in your planner. Okay? Everything needs to be there, and that way you're able to look at it. Now, like I said, I like an actual book, the month at a plan, and put it that way, but you guys are way more technology savvy than I am. You can put it online. You put it on your phone. I think on your phone you can have reminders and those little things that ding. Whatever works for you. But managing your time is instrumental to success, and not just college, but in your professional career. It helps you to meet deadlines. It also helps you to manage, so you're not waiting till the last minute for assignments. You know what's coming down the pike. If you've got major projects in multiple classes, start working on them earlier. You can even put into your planner how you pace that out. What's your timeline to get to the project due date, so not everything is that last minute. So make sure, let your planner work for you. I was a principal at one point, and I would bring in people from different colleges, usually in the admissions and where they could answer questions. Some of them were students. Um, Common denominator, every one of the people that I brought in from different colleges, what they were talking to, their biggest hint for success was to have a planner. You just, if you don't manage your time, it actually makes your life more stressful. You're missing things, and you just don't want that to happen. So definitely manage your time. If you're a sports person, watch that. If you're working, remember, even though this is a virtual hybrid, and yes, we're doing a lot of stuff online, you still have class time carved out. But not only for your classes do you need to let your employer know, but also, are you giving yourself time to do your homework? Because if you're just working or scheduling your work schedule around your actual class times, that's not helpful either. Because every one of your classes, you're going to have homework in. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to do something. So put that in your planner. Sometimes you need to, if you are, an organized person and you like that, what is your carve out time? I'm going to spend X amount of time in the study room or on my courses, whatever that looks like for you. And make sure that your employers know that. Your employers know that you're a student. If you go to them respectfully, if they schedule you during time that, especially class time. And I found that during when we had to shift everything online, where my kids were always in class, but now that we shifted to an online format, they're like, well, I can't make class because I have to work. Just because you're online, you don't add more hours to your work schedule. You still have the same amount of work. You're still required to come to class, be it Zoom or face-to-face. So you still need to manage accordingly. Even if you were doing a strictly online class, you still need to carve out that time that you're going to be able to work on your assignments, especially with your strict online, because that's really more you and how you are as a learner and how long does it take. Some of us, I know for me, I am not the person that can just read it one time and get it. I actually have to memorize, and it takes me a long time to get that material in. And so you know you better than anyone else. You know what you're going to need in order to be successful. And if you speak respectfully to your employers, and especially if you're working like retail or restaurant, they know that. They've been working around student schedules forever. That's why most college students work for restaurants. You make good money, but they work around your school schedule, and they'll know it. If they schedule you during class time, after you've told them about it, just respectfully go to them. Sometimes they just forgot. But I'm going to tell you, you get way farther with honey than you do vinegar, okay? And so be nice, be respectful, because they're more willing to work with you if you're respectful than if you're coming at them attacking. Well, I told you, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to be winning any friends and influencing people, and that's just going to be just a train wreck. So always be respectful, and always come at them with a humble attitude of, did you realize that, I explained to you that I have class during this time and I'm unable to work. Is there any way we can work this schedule around? If you're having any questions, or if because I know that can be, talking to your boss can be a little overwhelming. If you want to chat with me about it and we can game plan and work through that together, I'll be more than happy to do that. I'm a mom. My oldest is, she'll soon be 27, and we've walked through this from when she was a college student. My youngest is a freshman in high school, and my second daughter, she's out on her own and 21, and we've had to work through these. So it's not my first rodeo, and I would love to be able to walk through that with you if you need some counsel on that. And just how do I speak to authority? How could I, because a lot of times we get overwhelmed, or we don't want to get in trouble, especially for you guys who are coming out of high school, because this is really your first taste of being an adult and having to be a self-advocate, and that can be very overwhelming, and it takes practice. And so if you're needing someone to help walk with you through that, let me know. You have learner mentors, if there's any professor, we're here for you guys. So just let us know. We'll be more than happy to walk through this with you. The second thing is, you got to go to class. So that kind of butts up to what we're doing here. I know for me, I am not a surprise, and my past students will be the first to tell you, if you are a part of lecture, you watch my videos, you will be very prepared for your assessment, or your weekly assessments, or when I'm assessing, because I walk through everything and I explain everything to death, because I want to make sure that you get it. When we're in class time, if you have questions, which means you need to watch the videos, read the material before we get into face-to-face, that way you have me. And not only that you're able to ask questions to me so I can answer them, but the whole class can benefit. And if you have a question, 9 times out of 10, somebody has the same question. And so we'll get our cup of coffee together and we'll just walk through this, and it'll be fine. But use our class time. That was the main reason that I ended up doing a virtual hybrid, because of that whole 1-minute turnaround. Not sure where that came from, but I was very concerned with missing instruction time. And if we were in a face-to-face with people having to get up and leave, and not sure where they thought the disinfecting was going to come in, but it would have hit instruction time. And I do not want to miss one moment of hanging out with you guys and being able to be that resource for you. So that's why I chose to do the Zoom meetings. Just in case you are curious, each of you are sign up for a class. It still has the day and the time of your class. So if you are a Wednesday at 12 or Thursday at 11:30 or whatever, we're still having class at that time. The only difference will be is I'm going to be shooting out a Zoom link, and you will be meeting in a Zoom format rather than in a face-to-face. The other cool thing, no face masks. We don't have to social distance. Yay! So we should be okay with being able to hear one another and see one another, and just kind of communicate in that manner. Okay. Bring your coffee, kick back, ask questions. I'm not hardcore at all. My whole purpose of teaching is just to really be there for you guys and help you guys out. This is what I love to do. This is why I'm a teacher. And I love my content area. And one of my goals is, especially because I know that English can be a stressor, is to really alleviate that. And instead of being overwhelmed, you become an overcomer. And I like that. So, all right, so you got to go to class. You got to be present. When I do discussion boards, be a part of that, because especially in this type of community, any opportunity where you're able to read or hear someone else's ideas and be able to respond, that is a great moment. You'll be surprised what you will learn from other people. Consistently, students will say discussion boards have been a huge help for them. And that's why I do that. Your discussion boards will typically be in your 101 class. We may do a couple in here, but because I have all of you guys in my 101 class, but not everyone in my 101 is in my 100, that's why I will have more in that class where it's more of a weekly deal. Just to clarify with discussion boards, I know, just in case you were confused, the due date, because we talk about due dates and respecting them, is Sunday, but your initial thread is due Wednesday. I could only put one due date, so I do the final due date because that's when your reply threads are due. So when you have a discussion board that is due, and I will have it in my instructions, the initial thread is due by Wednesday evening, 11:59. Your 2 reply threads are due by Sunday evening of the same week by 11:59. If you ever have any questions on that, let me know so I can clarify that for you. But don't miss out on those, and think about the questions that are being asked. I know, because I've done online learning. I did my master's and did some undergraduate of my classes online. And honestly, I love that format because I would read what the prompt was, but I never responded immediately. I always thought about it. What do I have to say? What do I want to say? What do I really think about this? And that's what college is. What do you think about certain things? I have to tell you right now, I hate me regurgitated back to myself. I know that professors get a really bad rap of, they're trying to brainwash everybody. That is not me. In fact, that's actually an insult to me. My job is to help you know what you think. give you the resources that you can research, give you the opportunities to dig deep, think about what it is that you want, and who you are and why you respond certain ways, give you the tools to research it to see if what you thought is accurate. That's my job. My job is not to tell you what to think. I know what I think, but I'm not going to tell you. Okay, because I want to know what you have to say. And each of you need to figure out what that is. And that's awesome. And there's a lot of things that go into that. And we're going to talk about that later. But, and I do want you to start marinating on that. Why are you here? What is your goal? What are you willing to do in order to achieve your goal? Are you willing to do homework? Are you willing to go to class? Are you willing to step out of the comfort level or your, maybe, I don't even want to say comfort zone, but step away from the fear that keeps you from communicating with a professor because, that's a scary, they're an adult, or they're an authority person. Are you willing to step through that, open up those lines of communication so I can actually help you? Because I'm here, but I'm not going to beat you over the head and talk to me. You have to come to the table and you have to be a part of that. And so sometimes it is going to be getting out of your comfort level or that fear level and pushing through certain things. You have to do your homework. Especially with 101, we're going to be doing a lot because I'm taking you guys back down to square one, and we're just going to work it through, hopefully fill some holes. I usually have a lot of aha moments of like, I wish somebody had said it like that. I would have gotten it earlier, or why I'm doing something. I have changed my conversation. Yes, we're going to be learning grammar, but I changed my perspective of how I teach grammar because now I look at why are you learning what you're learning? What is the value of learning this? How does it fit into this whole writing deal? All of that. So that's what we're doing. So many of you know the skill. You know it. You've been drilled on this stuff for 12 years? But the thing is there what I have found, especially with this assessment, a little aside, if you haven't done that assessment, I need that done on the hoo-ha by Tuesday before classes so I can look at those because those really do help me a lot. And also don't forget those introductions on the discussion board. Initial threads by Wednesday evening, 11:59. When I look at those assessments, now I'm getting back on track. What I have found consistently, not 100% of the time, because again, each of you have a different background, and some of you really are English people, and you get it, and bless your heart, I'm glad you do. I was not that student in high school. I didn't get it. I didn't. I remember people, diagramming sentences, which to me is useless, because who's going to take a sentence and draw sticks and put words everywhere? I do more classification and look at the sentence as a whole. But I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why I was doing it. And I am the person, if you can't tell me why I need to know something, I will do just enough to get out of your class and keep on moving on with my happy self. With that, because I had the expectation in my family, you better not make below a C, because C's get degrees, yay. And so I did enough to meet the parentals' expectations. Maybe I had like A's, B's, and C's, A in chorus. But I wasn't a great student, didn't really learn how to study. And so when I went to college, it totally hit me hard because I did not establish good habits at all. I basically got to college because on a music audition, I was a music major for my first year. And it was not my heart's desire to teach music. Because usually music teachers, they stay in school until they die, so I didn't really see a whole lot of job market there. But it really wasn't my passion. I didn't get it when I first went to school. Didn't understand homework. Back in the 80s, they didn't even require attendance. I embraced that. It's not a good thing. Go to class. The only person that you're hurting is yourself. And so because of those really bad habits, I promptly got kicked out of college for grades because I had no clue what I was doing. I was there, had a great time. VCU, super fun. Country mouse go to the big city. But it was actually very embarrassing. I was embarrassed for years because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. And Yes, I added to that failure. It was nobody's fault but myself. But all I did was reinforce a negative speech of I'm not good enough, because before that, I wasn't even going to apply to college, to be honest with you, because I didn't think I was smart enough to go. And somebody said they were looking for somebody that's teachable. And I'm like, "Ooh, I'm teachable and I can sing." So that's how I got to college, was my audition at VCU. And it wasn't until later I became an optician, and they need somebody teachable. There's a life lesson there. Are you teachable? And I went, as I was working as an optician, they paid for half of my schooling so I could become licensed in the state of Virginia. So now I saw value in what I was doing. Are you getting the nugget there? I saw value because now I could apply it. And I also learned through that experience that I wasn't stupid. I actually was cum laude. That's what I graduated with. And you could have blown me over with a feather, because I didn't think that I was smart up to that point. And then I proved that to myself, and I was a good optician. And I was an optician for 10 years. I was a manager. And then I got remarried and, you know, went home because I had a baby. And then I went back to school because my passion since I was a kid was to teach. And it was just this really surreal moment. And the next thing I knew, I was signed up. And because I had all this college behind me, 10 months later, I had my undergraduate degree in elementary education. And through weird circumstances, I ended up being a middle and high school English teacher, fell in love with it, and went back for my master's. And here I am. I was teaching middle and high school, and then I shifted into the college arena and did really well and love what I do. And I'm pretty decent at what I do. So, but it's because I see the value in it, and I also see myself and a lot of students, and I want to give you hope. And if you have been speaking negative, talk to yourself that you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you need to get rid of it, because you are smart enough, you are good enough. You're here. You've already crossed the biggest hurdle because you're here. So let's take it home. And we can totally do that. And I know that was a big aside, but I wanted you to hear a little bit of me, because I know where a lot of you are sitting. This is new. It's a little scary, a little overwhelming. But let me tell you, you're in the best place. Every faculty member that I have met in different classes, and they're phenomenal. And the professors at Richard Bland, they want you to succeed, and they want to be there for you guys. So reach out to us. We're here for you. And you can do this. You can do this. Okay? And that's why I start my semester off like this, because I feel like I know that there are some of you guys that need to push through that. And, the first step is getting here, but then the other step is believing that you belong. And that, I can tell you that all day long, but you got to start speaking that, and you really got to start believing that you belong here, and that you are successful, and you are going to do well, and you've got this, and you need to start believing that. Perspective is a big deal in all walks of life, every stage, every age that you're in. How you look at it, how you perceive it, will really determine your success in the end. But like I said, biggest hurdle, you're here. Now we just need to take it home, okay? So be engaged. Do your homework. If you didn't have work-study habits in high school, guess what? It's not too late. It's not too late. You can start now. But they are learned habits, which means you have to be a part of it, okay? I have had students that never had homework their senior year. I think that really was a disservice, because that really teaches time management. But homework is going to be instrumental. Again, we're in a shorter window. We got a lot of stuff to roll through. So doing homework and having it ready for when I go over it, because I do, because that's a part of you studying and grasping material and allowing me to really walk with you through this. It will help you more. And that's why I don't accept late work. Because if you don't have your stuff and you're not prepared, then I can't go back. It's over. It's done with. And you've missed a window. You've missed an opportunity where you could have actually gotten some questions cleared up. Me just sitting here talking to you all the time, which I enjoy. I could talk all the time. But me just talking to you and walking you through it without you engaging in the learning process it will fall flat. You have to, a lot of times you don't know what you know, or if you know it or you don't, until you do your homework. I used to do that in math. Oh, I got it in class. I get home to look at it. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this. And then which really told me, oh, you really didn't get it in class. And it's not until those homework moments that you really understand that. With homework. Okay. So I'm not the person that grades homework like for accuracy. When I grade your homework, I'm looking for completion. And did you try? What was your effort? And I've been doing this deal a long time, and I can tell when students just write stuff down just to have something written down, and you will not get full credit, because I know. And it really hurts you, by the way. But if you have completed your homework and I can see true effort, and that means every question has to be answered. Did you follow the instructions? Especially with grammar, you need to follow the instructions. Everything with me, you need to follow the instructions. And that's part of your grade. Did you do what was being asked of you? You followed the instructions, you did every problem, you're going to get full credit. Doesn't matter if it's right or not, but you'll have it. We can go over it and clean it up and figure it out as we go, okay? But if you just chicken scratch some stuff down to send it in, you're not going to get full points on that. And if you only do one and it's the one I did as an example, I can't give you any credit at all. Okay. So do yourself a favor, do your homework, and remember that it's really for you. It's really for you to strengthen and to really get over some of those stressors and to say, you know what, this isn't a big deal. I can do this. And with each thing that you grasp, each thing that you master, you're going to start feeling more confident. And that's my end game with you guys. I want you confident when you leave out of here, and that you are capable, you're teachable, you can learn anything. Okay? It's awesome. I'm excited. All right. The next thing, I told you about the planner. Definitely read through that. I'm telling you, if you are not currently a time manager, and you know how to manage please invest in one. Some of you guys probably already are. Keep up the good work, And also on a side note, some of you guys, especially with learning how to study, whatever you're doing, because some of these are new concepts to you. You're going to have to get more consistent with how you study and all that. You got to give yourself a break. If you really have never had a need to study, but you did well, but now you have to, okay, we're all different, and what works for one person doesn't always work for another person. So you have to give yourself permission that, okay, I studied, I took the assessment. If you didn't get the grade that you wanted, maybe you need to shift how you study and fine tune that. You got to give yourself permission. To continue to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And that's also your adulting lesson. You have to be able, if something is not working, stop trying to beat a square peg in a round hole. Shift it and move on. Try something different. And there are a lot of different ways to study. You just have to find the one that works for you. I will tell you, for me, studying is not easy. For me to memorize and do stuff, I have to write things out a lot. The only way I passed geometry in high school is that I could take those quizzes. She would have a theorem quiz on whatever theorem we were doing. And I would go to the library and I would write out that theorem word for word until I could write it. And that's how I passed geometry. I couldn't tell you how to use one of them, but I could do that. I took control over that piece of it. So, but that's what works for me. Some of you guys are verbal. Some of you need to maybe have a study partner, whatever works for you, but you're going to have to figure out what works for you. And each person is different. please also, especially with notes. Now, like I said, I have included your textbook in your module. You can print that off, because if you need to make notes in the margins, that is fine. When we do lectures, when I am talking, take notes. I am going to tell you right now, do not study off of someone else's notes. I can actually speak from experience, because my freshman year was really, really awful. Don't wish that on anyone. Because I was a horrible student, never went to class. And so a friend of mine, he was really smart. And I was like, well, he goes to class and he takes the notes. And so I promptly asked him if I could borrow his notes to study for a psychology test. Well, his notes were written for him, which were keyword notes that meant absolutely nothing to me, which means I flunked that test royally. So don't assume someone else's notes. Your notes are very personalized to you. Even with the textbooks, even when I'm doing lecture, I give notes on the board, and we will be doing that. I do have a whiteboard, because I'll be writing a lot on that. You need to write that down. But if there's something in the explanation of it that you need, then that's what you do. You need to make your notes work for you. Your assessments actually online, I don't care if you use your notes. They're timed, which means that you need to be very familiar with the material that you have, know how to find it. You can go back and look, but you're not going to be able to look up every question. Do you know what I'm saying? So make your notes work for you, because that's about life, knowing how to use your resources. And your notes are a serious resource. Okay, so just make sure that you know that. Know your expectations. That's for any professor, any boss. Know what they expect of you. For me, especially with papers, I want organization. I want you to, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know your responses. Again, like I told you, I don't really like to hear myself regurgitated back to myself. I know what I think. I want to know what you think. But more importantly, you need to support whatever stance that you take at all times. If you're going to say, I agree with that, you better expect me to say, why? What's your support? Why do you agree with that? Why do you disagree with that? That's okay that you can agree or disagree, but you better know why. And it cannot be because such and such told me. That is never grounded support. We are going to talk about research and credible research and all that good stuff. So when you do get in those situations, because you will, and someone is going to ask you to defend what it is that you believe and why you believe the way that you do. And it can be anything from, business strategy, law. You're constantly defending yourself. But anytime where you're asked, what is your response? A critique is basically a response on what somebody has written. And why do you believe that? Why did you agree or disagree with the information of that article? So it's very important. You need to do that with every one of your professors. What are their expectations? It's usually in your instructions. Did you read your instructions? Bosses pay attention to that. Can you follow instructions? Because they don't really have the time to follow up and regurgitate over and over again something that they've put in writing. So even if you're going to ask me for clarification, my first thing is, did you read the instructions? If you didn't, that's where I'm going to refer you to, because you need to make sure that you read the instructions, because really that's the expectation right there. And I will always reiterate with those expectations as I'm going through different assignments and what I'm looking for. Write that down. Write that down. Okay. Communication. I already tapped into this already a little bit. You have to be your own self-advocate. I try very hard to make sure that I answer all questions, because I put myself, what would I ask? And that's really kind of what drives me, and every professor is the same way. But that doesn't mean I have covered every question that you may have. You have to learn how to speak on your own, because again, if you're seeking value in this class and you want to learn and move forward and grow as an academic or a professional, you have to advocate for yourself. If you have questions, you need clarification, that's okay. Um, Now, what I will say, how you say it plays a big part on what type of response that you'll get. If you send me an email where you're attacking me and you say blah, 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 I've basically shut down on you. Why should I help you if you're going to be mean to me? I'm trying to help you. I'm not your enemy. But please talk to me nice. Please respect me the way you want me to respect you. That's a given. Um, how you word things. Like I said, I'm a direct person. And right now you can see my heart. You can tell that, I'm not a threat. I'm here for you guys. But sometimes if I had written out what I said, you wouldn't read it that way at all because I'm a direct person. It's just exhausting being fluffy all the time. But I have to edit all the time because I don't want people to receive it in a negative manner. So make sure that you read your emails. Do not type at me in all caps because that's yelling. Just be respectful with it. If you're nice and you show humility, that really does go a long way. And you will get so much farther in life in general if you show some humility. I'm not groveling, but, based on lecture today, could you please clarify, I didn't quite understand it as I'm going into my assignment. If you are writing like for a homework assignment, especially if it's like numbered and there's a specific question and you're having problems, please make sure that you include the number and be very specific. There's a lot of times that I can go ahead and shoot you an email back and answer you. If we find that it's more entailed, we can always set up a Zoom meet and hash through it that way. So it's all good, but just be respectful. Make sure that you give me all the information that I need, or that you need to be answered, rather. Do not assume, you're going to see that back here in a little bit, but don't assume that I understand what questions that you have, okay? So be very specific, but be respectful when you do that, not just with me, but with other classmates, other professors, or anyone for that matter. Doesn't matter if they're authority or peers. You want respect? Give it. People love to go after other people because they were like this, but sometimes responses are actually reactions based on how they were treated. And if you are somebody responds to you in a negative manner, my first check would be, how did you communicate with them? Could it be seen in a manner that was attacking them or threatening them? And maybe did they react to you? That in itself, believe me, I've had that conversation with myself multiple times, and it can be very humbling, but that's how you grow. That's how you grow. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, in all professions, networking is huge. Being able to meet people, get along with people, that's where you get jobs. That's where you get favor. So if you can start learning and honing those skills in with respect and leaving a good impression, that will take you far. I can tell you, I've written a lot of recommendations for students getting into programs at William & Mary and other colleges. So make sure, don't make assumptions about who someone is because you may need to know them, or they may be sitting across the table from you one day and they're in the hiring position and you're needing a job. So just be really careful with that. Communication is key. How do you communicate? Be very careful again. If you are like me, I am a little sarcastic and very dry and a little direct. My written communication, I have to edit quite a bit to make sure that I'm being received in the manner that is respectful and that will gain the respect that I'm seeking and the answers. So you get farther away. Perspective. Whatever you seek out of this class, you will find it. If you are not looking to gain anything, I can promise you're not going to learn a thing. So you're here. There's always something that you can learn. Always. And if you are good at English, I am going to challenge you to seek something new, a different perspective. People who are naturally gifted, my kids, my oldest and my youngest are like these amazing artists. My youngest makes these like fursuits and the whole big thing that sits over your head and whatnot. and she wants to go to Ringling College in Florida. It's for like animation and other stuff. Um, but the thing is she's got to get through school. Well, she hates schoolwork, like hates it with a passion. And like I told her, I know that you're going to art school, but you still have to take a lot of classes that you don't necessarily want to take. Every profession has something that there's a piece of it that it's not your favorite. I've worked for surgeons in the past. They want to be in scrubs all day long and do surgeries. They hated doing the paperwork and writing notes. Well, I would go in and say, no notes, no money. So, you know, if it was your passion, one, are you allowing yourself to be open to someone who could, in like her case, she's an artist. There's always someone better, always. Are you willing to humble yourself to learn something new, maybe from somebody who's been doing it a long time? I have a lot of success with my classes and my students. They go on to do very well in college, very confident, and I do have a track record of that. So yes, you may be good in English, but what type of English? My specialty is more academic professional writing, which goes into your professions. I've been around longer, so I can give you a different perspective of an older generation that's going to be on the hiring end, actually. So, we all have something. If you are a science person, your science professors, especially if they're doctorates, they know a lot of stuff. And even if you're good at it, there's always something to learn. So seeking knowledge, that's the perspective. Whatever you're going to get, if you're seeking to find something, you will. You totally will. And again, I would just say be open to that. And being a part of the process, allowing yourself to experience something different. I am going to challenge you. Up until this point, a lot of your work, and a lot of it was necessary, especially like middle, elementary, middle, especially when I'm going to do English because that's who I am. But like with literature, here's the question, give me the answer. A lot of high school stick with that. When I would shift into 11th and 12th grade, it was no longer, you have to have some comprehension where it's like, here's the question and here's the answer. But I'm going to ask questions where you have to critically think, and that's very difficult. And that is a muscle that has to be exercised and can be a very uncomfortable muscle to exercise, because for so long it's been, this is the answer. And if you don't have that answer, well, I hate to tell you this, especially on your papers, and some of your questions and your quizzes are subjective in nature. And I'm looking at, can you articulate your opinion and can you support it? Doesn't mean that you have the right answer. The right answer is, does it relate to the question? What's your response? And what's your support to why you responded that way? And that is just really interesting to me. And I do get a chuckle out of it every now and again, because I'll ask a question and people, like, they want to wait me out. I can wait all day. I'm at home now. I got coffee. So, I want to know what you think. I know what I think, but, and I think also with that, being uncomfortable can also be, you don't want people to make fun of you. Well, I can tell you right now, this is a safe place and no one is going to make fun of you. And if they do, that's a conversation that I will have with that person, because that's not what this is. We've got to learn how to share ideas in a respectful manner. And this is a safe place. I don't think I'm going to have that issue, because I've never had that issue. Honestly, every one of my classes, because that's the expectation. I expect for people to listen, to be respectful, to respond in a respectful manner. I've never had students that went outside of that. I'm going to tell you right now. And I've been doing this deal a long time. So you're in a safe place. It's okay to share your ideas. I love when people have differing views. How do we communicate through that? That's what this deal is about. That's what English is about. It's about the academic conversation. It's continuing the conversation. How do we continue that in a respectful manner? And that's when things change. That's when the cool stuff happens. Okay. So, and it's actually very logical. I want you to read through that. But like I said, I wanted to spend some time really kind of going over um, how do we perceive this class? How can we get rid of some of the baggage that we've carried in and let you know that you can cut bait on that and that you can start over? This is your start over moment. You can become whomever you want to be. You can be the student that you've always wanted to be. You have the limit. It's limitless. There's no limits here. You take it as far as you want. Okay. The logic piece, assumptions, I already told that, never assume. We're going to get more into that as far as when we're writing. Just be very careful. Never assume somebody knows, especially me, that I know what you're thinking, because I don't. And I'm not even going to put myself in the position to even to try to figure out what you're thinking. You're going to have to explain yourself. And that's okay. So that basically, in a nutshell, well, 55 minutes, I think, of really kind of getting into the mindset. And I think this is a mindset that you could really use for every one of your classes. Go into each class seeking something. What can you learn? Get your hands dirty. Get involved. Even if you give a wrong answer, so what? What are they going to say? It's wrong. What are they going to say? No. Okay. Well, why am I wrong? In a respectful manner. This is your age of exploration. That's what college is. Ask questions, get your hands dirty, expose yourself to things and knowledge and classes. You've got some phenomenal professors that just content area wise are just excellent. And pick their brains. It's all good. That's what we're here for. So I do have one little thing to say at 55 minutes. If you did not take a writing assessment and you would like to do so, because if you take a writing assessment, you could actually exempt the 100 and just be in the 101, depending on your schedule. And if it was really difficult for you to have to take the 100 and 101 together, you're more than welcome to do that, but you have to do that first week of school. Talk to your learner mentors immediately about that. But I will tell you, my kids that do my 100 and my 101 together, they usually do very well because they are so compatible, and it gives them that extra time to really fill in some holes for the 100 piece of it. So I am so excited about this semester. I'm so excited to get to know you guys and get to really just help to speak into you guys, but to learn what your dreams are and what I can do to help you achieve them. So you guys have a great week, and I will see all of you guys on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when I have you. And don't forget to do that assessment and do your discussion board, your first thread by Wednesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.